Hello everyone. How are you? It's me. I'm coming to you live as promised for this month's Fertility Hot Seat. And I will let people come on. Hello, hello, hello. It's so good to be with all of you. So this is how it works, just as a reminder. You are going to ask to join me live, and at random, I'm going to pick one of you to come on live for a free 15-minute consult with me. And this consult is based on my clinical experience in 20 years in clinical practice, writing all those books that are sitting right above my head, and helping literally at this point thousands of women get to their dream babies. And so you get to pick my brain. It is not medical advice, and this is not a live Q&A. So I am actually doing a live Q&A tomorrow, and it's going to be an Ask Me Anything about fertility. So if you have questions, please tune in live with me tomorrow, and I will be doing that. But today is a fertility hot seat. So I am going to let you guys... you use that plus bottom in the bottom of the screen to request to join me live. And then once I have a handful of people in there, I'll come in and I'll pick at random. But it is helpful when you comment on the Fertility Hot Seat post or like the Fertility Hot Seat post. So I have a lot of names in mind of people that I will pick based on their liking, hearting, commenting on the post that we did yesterday. So here comes some people. And these hot seats are super fun. I mean, I think it's super, it can be informative, and you get to just ask me any questions of I'll ask you a bit about your fertility journey, where you're at, what I can do to better support you. And we'll go from there. So I see one, let's see. Okay, and then also keep in mind that whoever does join me live, you will be going live as well. And so, I want you to always keep that in mind. And we do keep these live videos up on our platform as well, because we find that so many benefit. I mean, I can't tell you how many practitioners tune into these fertility hot seats that I do. And and learn and take notes. And so it's so weird. I keep seeing people plussing and then going away, plussing, then going away, plussing, then going away. I don't know what's going on. But let's see. Let's give you guys a few more minutes. And then also, as per the post on, I think it was Monday about eggs and postnatal oogenesis is what it's called on the technical side of things. I have a lengthy slideshow that I am preparing, and then I will record it and I will upload it and share with you. And I'm also creating a document, a Google Doc with links to all the studies, even though I did share a handful of studies in the post. And then also I have downloaded a handful of PDFs because I have medical journal access through a couple different services. And so that I will also share with all of you, because I know there was a lot of interest in that post and people really want to learn more about the current research that's going on when it comes to postnatal oogenesis. So basically the data and the research showing that there is a lot of evidence that we are continuing to create eggs throughout our life. And I know that really challenges a dogma that's mainstream, and I understand it can be triggering and hard for a lot to take in. But just as I think AMH and FSH have fallen kind of to the wayside as far as determining factors for fertility challenges or fertility outcomes, I think this is it's just normal. It's just innovation as we're learning and growing, as research is getting more and more in depth. People are looking into this. I know I can see lots of people trying to join, and it's just not allowing anybody to join, which I can't understand. So Delaney, I see you trying to join. Marison, I see you trying to join. I don't know if there's something wrong with my connection that it's just not allowing anyone to join right now. I'm going to funny on my end. I keep seeing all these pluses, people joining, and then they just disappear. So I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe I have to leave and come back. I think that it worked.
Hello.
Hi. You know what I'm saying? That's just
How are you?
Want to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Where you okay?
Yeah.
How are you? I don't know what was going on. Everybody kept plussing in, and then what is it? Kept like disconnecting you? What was it saying on your side?
Nothing. It didn't disconnect me at all.
Oh, on my end, it kept showing you appear and then disappear, appear and then disappear. Like not here, but meaning when you were asking to join me live, like the plus.
Okay.
Anyway, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I'm sorry. I'm at work, but
It's okay.
was able to take a break because I was like, oh, she's on. So,
Tell me what's going on.
So I had actually a miscarriage in October. A miscarriage.
Okay.
But I conceived like super quickly.
Okay.
It was like the first time my husband and I didn't use any like form of contraceptive.
Okay.
I've never been on like birth control or anything, but we always use like condoms or like pull out method, you know.
Yeah.
So and I immediately conceived.
Okay.
And then I found out at my 10-week appointment that there was no heartbeat.
I've been there. I've been there personally.
Yeah.
It sucks. Yeah.
So I'm currently like I am working with a holistic dietitian, and like she's helping me balance my hormones.
Good.
But I will say like I've not been really gracious with myself, and I'm like beating myself up that I haven't conceived again.
Okay. So it's been October, and then
and I gave myself like I didn't really start until like after January.
Yeah.
Like trying to conceive again.
Okay.
Because I need time.
Yeah. And then your cycles have been regular?
So I would say like I guess I'm a little irregular because my cycle either starts from the 32nd day or the 35th.
Oh, that's not that irregular. When do you ovulate?
And then I do test like with an Anito, and then I also have my Aura ring that I use. Okay. And then just regular like cheapy sticks because sometimes the Anito is a little expensive, so I'm like, I'm not gonna splurge.
100%. You don't have to do those every day. I think. I think the Anitos are good to just get it.
I don't. I just do them here and there. And like some cycles, I'm like around like cycle day 18, 19.
Okay. And that would make sense for the 33, 34. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like cycle day 21.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, listen, I have plenty of women that ovulate on cycle day 20 and bring home healthy children. So I think as long as you're nailing the timing, and are you seeing good signs of cervical mucus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And has your period resumed to like what it was before the miscarriage?
Yes.
Like flow.
So I've never had painful periods, and I've never clotted.
Okay.
My period lasts for 5 days.
Okay.
And what is it? Like, and my flow is like bright red.
Okay.
And everything seems pretty normal. Okay. The only thing is I use like the Pre-Mom app. Yeah. And it's always telling me my luteal phase is a little short, coming in at 10. The longest I've ever had was 12.
Okay. And how is it? But if you ovulate on 18 and then get a period on 33 or 21 and then 35, is that correct?
Well, because I'm like putting all my information in.
Yeah.
So, and it just, that's the number.
But the Pre-Mom's not testing progesterone, right? Do you use the Anito in your luteal phase to see progesterone? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. And so this cycle, because I didn't do it throughout my like fertile window, I just did it after, like, so with Pre-Mom I tested, and then I used my Anito to check and see, and like I like increased like 6.5, like my progesterone was like 6.5, and they like their range says 6.5 and higher. Yeah, is confirmed ovulation. Right. And I don't know, can I exit out of this? I can't remember what day it said.
You can go and look. I think we might lose your face, but I'll still hear you. Maybe I'm wrong.
Nope.
Yeah.
I could hear you, but I don't think you could hear me.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. Okay. Yeah. So
it did confirm my ovulation, but it didn't necessarily call it my confirmation because I didn't consistently track throughout my fertile window.
So it didn't know when you actually asserted. Mm-hmm. And then did you test the Anito any other times in the luteal phase? Did progesterone ever go higher than the 6.5?
Yeah, no, now it's like, I did yesterday and it was like 12.
Okay.
And then I have a blood draw tomorrow.
Okay. Good.
Because I've been advocating and harassing my OB.
Good girl. Yeah. Yeah, because with the miscarriage, you didn't test the tissue, so you don't know a reason for the loss, right? And
because I didn't do a DNC. I didn't want to do anything that could possibly cause any scarring, so I did misoprostol.
Okay. So things I would think about: has your thyroid been checked?
Yes, all of that's been normal. Okay. All of my hormones have been tested fine.
Okay.
My dietitian is doing an HTMA test with me just to see where I'm at, like with minerals and things like that.
Okay.
And I haven't got the results back from that.
Okay.
And I've pretty much just been winging it and like kind of reading, following your stuff for sure.
Okay.
And then I've been looking into like acupuncture as well.
Okay. And supplements, what are you taking?
I take NAC, CoQ10. I take a fish oil.
How much of those two?
The NAC, I cannot remember. I think it's 6 or 9. I think it's usually 6. Okay. I believe it's 6, the one that I have. And then I'm taking the CoQ10. I take like 400 milligrams, but it's the ready.
Yeah, more powerful one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I take Baby and Me Too prenatal.
Okay. By New Chapter, right? That's New Chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Or Innate. Yeah, no, it's not New Chapter. It's I know which one it is, so that's a good one.
The Baby Me Too, because I try to get my stuff in glass jars if I can to stay with plastic. What else do I take?
Any vitamin D, or what's your vitamin D status?
I take vitamin D3. I've always been low, so I've been on vitamin D forever. Vitamin D3.
And you take it with food in your stomach, right?
Yes, and I take it with a K2.
Good. Fish oil?
And the fish oil, yes, ma'am. And then what else do I take? I'm trying to think. There's one more. Just the K2, that's it. And I do take a probiotic. I take seed.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And then health-wise, you feel in good shape?
Yeah, my energy. No, I'm good. I have no existing health conditions. I've been tested for PCOS multiple times.
Okay.
Nothing.
No.
I'm insulin resistant. My glucose is fine.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay. Do you have any signs of PCOS outside of
no
stuff? I mean, your ovulation.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, things I would think about, and sperm has never been tested, right?
Oh yeah, no, he was fine.
Okay, good. So sperm's been tested. Okay, so and do you feel like since January you've like nailed every opportunity, if you will?
I won't say that I have, because I've kind of like don't want the letdown of like getting that negative test. So I haven't been as vigilant about it, but I have been trying to be pretty like on top of things. But I have been a little bit more lax.
Yeah.
And then I feel like also I do kind of push for intercourse almost every day, and I feel like that's also could be hindering me a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It's like, I think especially when you start seeing the juicy cervical mucus, like outside of even what Anito says, I would just make sure, like, if you see stretchy cervical mucus, have sex. Like, that's kind of, I think the most important thing, because, I love Anito, I love Mira, I love Uva. I think they're all great because they test the estrogen and the progesterone and the LH, and those are really good indicators for us. But they're, they aren't always 100% consistent. So I think when you see cervical mucus, have sex. And then also, so easy for me to say, but try to get into that headspace of like, sex for fun and connection versus sex for baby, so easy, so easy for me to say, believe me. But just in that space of like, almost like thinking back to like, okay, what energy were we in when that happened so easily? And like, can I recreate that? Like, focusing on kind of the joy and just like, and as far as like testing is concerned, nothing has come up. There's no concerns. Like sometimes after a miscarriage, but particularly with the DNC, there can be retained tissue, and that but usually what you'll see is abnormal periods.
Yeah. I did have like after everything, I did have a like an exam just to make sure everything had passed, and I was clear. OB told me that my uterus was beautiful.
So the other thing too that like is something that you could, obviously not this cycle, but if say, you're not pregnant in maybe the next 2 or 3 cycles, you could ask for a test that's called endometritis. It's a uterine biopsy. Maybe you've heard me talk
Mhm.
about it. But it's basically the uterine microbiome to make sure that there's not any infections that could be causing implantation
I've
issues. And
also
that can
done that.
happen after. Go ahead.
I was tested for, what is it? Myo. It's like, it's I can't think of it. Uroplasma.
Oh, ureaplasma. Okay.
I was tested for that, and then one other, something similar to that. I cannot think of the name of it.
Yeah, and those are usually lower down the tract, so those are more like vaginal tract. But the endometrial biopsy, it kind of feels like a path. It's not super comfortable, but it's not like outrageously uncomfortable. But it's pretty common. Like you can look in the research, like post miscarriage. Again, more likely with the DNC with like poking and prodding, but sometimes there can be a uterine infection that develops, and that will prevent implantation. And it's a course of antibiotics that treats it. And the ureaplasma came back clear.
Yes,
and then
all of that was clear.
It's mycoplasma and ureaplasma, right?
Myco and then the ureaplasma.
And that's the dietitian did that with you?
No, actually, my aunt, she's awesome. She works for a local lab, and that's all they test is like for, usually she heads up for like OB offices in my area.
Yeah.
And she's been advocating for me. She's like, you have to do this test. I want you to do this test. So I was like, okay. So we did it, and everything was fine. And she's like, I know it's not the news we necessarily wanted, because she's like, we were looking for an answer, but she goes, at least we know that's not like,
that's not it.
A roadblock.
Yeah. And so that's the other thing I would look at is like, again, I'm not like nothing is feeling like it's screaming that, but that's like one thing you could look at. If say you get a period this time, you could advocate for yourself of like, could I have endometritis? And people get confused. Endometriosis. We're not talking about endometriosis. We're talking about endometritis, which means itis means inflammation of the endometrial lining. And that can be a low-lying infection that will prevent implantation. It could also have been a low-lying infection that was there that was part of a miscarriage. You know what I mean? So it could be something that you do and rule out. And then, I mean, I think otherwise, it's like if sperm came back fine, you're ovulating and menstruating fine. I mean, I think it's just staying the course. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have the window of like another at least 6 months, I would say, of staying the course and continuing to be proactive. And then I'm assuming the dietitian is making some dietary recommendations and tweaks. Okay.
Now, I will ask, like my husband does have thyroid issues, but it's controlled. He takes medication for it.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be hindering anything?
No, if his sperm analysis came back okay, then I think it's okay, you know. And usually, I mean, thyroid function definitely impacts sperm, but thyroid function will really impact the ability to get and stay pregnant for women. So, you know, I would also double check that they did a complete thyroid panel, that they looked, you did all
No,
of
I
it.
definitely had them do all that, and everything came back normal. I like pushed.
Good. And what's your instinct? Did you have an instinct as to what's the delay this time around?
I don't. Like, I think, well, the only thing I can say, like, like my instinct is I definitely think I'm an overthinker. So I think that
maybe the emotions are getting in the way.
I think that for sure.
Yeah. So that's where I would say, like, maybe, you know, if it doesn't happen this cycle, since you're in the luteal phase, that next cycle, you even talk with your husband about it, of just like a commitment to like, we're just going to have spontaneous fun sex this month. Because like really, if you're in that jive of like listening to your body and feeling, you have an increased sex drive when you are ovulating. You know, you feel it, you think about sex. It's like that's almost what I would go after.
And I feel like that's where my success was the first time, is we just kind of, I went into it like, oh, it could take up to a year, like let's have fun. And because he was like, oh no, you're immediately, I'm like, no, you're like, that's a joke, that's not gonna happen. And I did. So I feel like I've definitely like, I'm hindering myself in that way. And then I'm also like on a journey of like healing myself emotionally too. And I know like that our emotions can affect our whole bodies in a cellular way. And so I'm like definitely on that motion too.
Yeah, and I think too, then stay in touch with that. I mean, I think that's beautiful, and then good on you. You know, it's not easy to do that kind of healing. So, there's a part of me that always does believe that the babies come through when it's like the right time for everyone. You know,
and
I
agree.
Think about that too, and even, you know, checking in on like, how's my grief from the miscarriage? You know, like that kind of thing, because it's like, you know, also having been there personally too, of like, you do the check-ins. You're like, oh, I would have been 7 months at
Yeah.
this point. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, it's that kind of feeling of like just doing that check-in too. And I also think if you're open to it, the spirit baby world is really interesting and kind of fun to get into. But like connecting with the spirit of the child, like knowing it's there with you. And I think they also say in that world of like, the spirit of the child you lost will come back true. And, you know, so almost like reconnect to that of like, you know, the vessel is ready, the home is ready, you know, mommy's a work in progress, and it always will be, because we're not perfect humans, and, you know, and that's not what we're striving for. And so, you
Exactly.
know, like I think that part too, but just continue trying to find grace for yourself too in the process.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's definitely where my blockage could be for sure, is that just like my emotions, and then the fact that I'm overthinking, like, why hasn't it already happened yet? And I'm not giving myself that grace that I deserve.
Yeah. And I think, you know, there's something to like sex without strings in a sense, you know?
Exactly.
Because I feel like there's just more tension we're holding on to, and the expectation. But like it is like, even in women your age, you know, it doesn't happen every month. It's like 25% chance, you know, and so it's just but I think you have the luxury of time, but that's not to say that like your heartstrings aren't being pulled on. You know, it's not easy to wait, especially when it was so easy the first time, and then especially healing and grieving from a miscarriage too. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
I think just keep tuning into that. But it sounds like you're doing all the right things, in my opinion.
Okay,
you know, I would make sure that vitamin D is getting up, because low vitamin D levels impact implantation. And then the other thing is like that endometritis test, that maybe you look into that, because that could be a piece of it.
Okay.
And then is your husband on some supplements or anything?
Yes, he's on
Okay,
a
good.
multivitamin. He takes the fish oil, vitamin D as well.
Okay, good.
And vitamin E.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah. I feel like you're doing all the things, so I think you stay the course. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're
That means a lot
welcome.
coming from you.
Oh, well, thank you. And thanks for taking time from your work day to
Yes, ma'am.
come
Thank
and
you.
chat with all of us.
All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye.